Hi, Jason Goodall, GQue BBQ. The old joke in barbecue is there's no such thing as leftover brisket. However, if you find yourself in that situation, today I'm going to show you a use for it. We're going to make a barbecue lasagna using leftover brisket, leftover pork, and all kinds of wonderful cheeses and barbecue sauce. It's going to be cheesy, it's going to be meaty, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. If you want to see how we do that, it's coming up right now. For proven recipes and techniques using live fire, smash down that subscription button and hit that bell notification and you won't miss any of our videos. So you just had your family and friends over for a barbecue get together and you got leftover pork, and you got leftover brisket, and you're trying to think of something out of the ordinary to do with the leftovers. Today we're going to show you a barbecue lasagna. I actually have never made this before, so I have no idea how it's going to turn out. If you didn't have your family and friends over and have the leftover pork and brisket, and you're curious about making brisket or pork for the first time, I made two videos, the simplest way to make pulled pork and the simplest way to make brisket. I'll put both of those up above in the iCard, and those are the absolute easiest ways to make brisket or pulled pork. Today we're going to be cooking on the Gateway drum smoker. So I'm going to start by lighting the chimney basket. Since it's going to be a relatively quick cook of about 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to fill it up about halfway. I'm then going to use this fire starter. I'm going to place it in the middle of the charcoal, placing a couple pieces on top, light it, return it back to the drum, and open up the valves and leave the lid off. Once our fire gets going, I'm going to put the lid on, check the temperature, and I'm going to adjust the valves so they're about a quarter of the way open. Once we get to 350 degrees, I want to stay between 350 and 375 for today's cook. For our meat mixture, I've got 1 pound of smoked pulled pork. I also got 1 pound of smoked brisket. These are leftovers. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop it up really finely. This is the texture I'm going for with the brisket. I want there still to be good bites in there, but I also want it to be nice and small so that it'll form a really nice shaped lasagna. 1 pound of brisket, 1 pound of pork. What do you love more? Tell me below. Brisket or pork? Yeah, this is the texture we're going for. This is going to make for an excellent meat mixture for our lasagna. It's going to maintain the shape of the lasagna, which is important. Instead of using tomato sauce, we're going to use barbecue sauce. Today we're using the topper, which is our sweet and savory barbecue sauce. We're going to put this in here, mix it all up, and then return it to the Gateway drum smoker just so it can get nice and warm. Doesn't this look so good? This would make for excellent sandwiches. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of GQue Rub just to kind of wake it up, and then return it to the Gateway drum until it heats all the way through. We're not trying to cook this, we're just trying to bring it up to about 165, 180 degrees. So now we're ready to build the lasagna. The first thing I'm going to do is put down a base layer of sauce. I'm also going to rub the sauce against the sides of the pan. This is going to ensure that it does not stick when we go to cut the pieces out of the pan after it's cooked. Today, I am using these oven-ready lasagna noodles. I prefer these because it eliminates the extra step of having to boil them. I also like to build my lasagna a little bit differently. I like a lot of noodle in my lasagna. So what you'll see is I'll be stacking very thin layers of cheese and meat so that we have a good noodle to meat ratio. Make this lasagna however you want to make it. If you like more mixture, if you like more cheese and less noodle, make it that way. This is just the way I prefer the lasagna. One thing to keep in mind with these noodles is they will expand as they cook. For the bottom layer, I like to go nice and sturdy. Therefore, I'm putting down 2 sheets of the oven-ready lasagna noodles. After the noodles, I'm going to lay down slices of mozzarella cheese. I absolutely love mozzarella cheese, and I think this is going to go awesome in this lasagna. Now that we got the mozzarella down, I'm going to put down a layer of our sauced, reheated pork and brisket. For the lasagna I'm making today, I'm not going to put a whole bunch of meat on here because I want a good noodle to meat ratio. If you like it extra meaty and not a lot of noodles, then pile on the meat. For our next layer, we're going to put down good old American, white American cheese. You might say, where's the ricotta? I'm not a huge fan of ricotta. I think white American and mozzarella on top of smoked pork and brisket is an awesome combination, so that's what I'm going with. But go with whatever you like. If you like ricotta in your lasagna, add it to your lasagna. So this is my secret weapon. This is Pecorino Romano. This is probably one of my favorite cheeses. I think a little bit of this goes a long way. It really cuts through the creaminess of the mozzarella and the American cheese. After that layer of cheese, we're gonna go one more pasta. One little trick when doing this is stack them. See how you've got this guy right there? You've got that guy right there, and you're gonna put that on top of there. That's gonna hold them all in place. If I were to go like this and like that, this very easily can slide off, but it's gonna hold in place when I overlap them and stack them like that. And that's our process. So now I'm gonna duplicate that process until the pan is completely full. I'm a big fan of spicy, but not too spicy, so I'm gonna add a little bit of spicy barbecue sauce with every other layer of the meat. Our lasagna is built and I'm nervous. I'm hoping this whole thing's gonna stay together. As I was putting it together, I thought it'd be better to build it like this so it keeps its free form, assuming it stays together versus building it all the way out to the sides. So this will be a bit of an experiment and I'm curious to see how it comes out. Everything is cooked here with the exception of the noodles. It should take about 45 minutes at around 350 to 375 degrees on the gateway drum for everything to come together and make a spectacular barbecue lasagna. We're gonna put a hickory log down onto the fire so we can get some smoke flavoring into the food. So if you don't have a gateway drum or a smoker in your backyard, don't worry, this still works great in your oven. Just put it in your oven, 45 minutes-ish, 350, 375 degrees, and it should come out great. Beautiful head of curly parsley. This is going to add no flavor. The only reason I'm using this is to provide good color and a garnish to our cut lasagna. It's important to slice it very, very finely. And I never, ever, ever want to use the stems, only the flower part of the parsley. Okay, so the lasagna is looking great. Probably only about 5 more minutes to go till we hit that 45-minute mark. It's totally done, so one thing left to do, it's one final layer of this grated Pecorino Romano to really take it over the top. So I'm gonna let this go for another 5 minutes or so just to kind of let that cheese set up on there, and then we're gonna let it rest for about 10 minutes. We'll be ready to dig in. So this has been cooking for about 5 minutes after I put the cheese on here. Everything looks really good here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull it and set it off to the side. Super important to let it rest and come down in temperature. If I went ahead and cut this right now, the entire thing will fall apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and set it off to the side, let it rest for a while, and then we'll cut into it and see what we got. I'm pretty excited to try this as it looks fantastic. So the lasagna's been waiting for about 10 minutes. I can't wait to cut into it because it looks way better than what I thought it was gonna look like. Bad boy garnished up and cut up. Only one thing left to do. Now for my favorite part, the taste test. When thinking of a video to make incorporating leftover barbecue, we came up with a couple of different ideas. One of my employees, Carvin Marvin, came up with brisket enchiladas. I think that's something him and I are going to make in a future video. Another idea was the BBQ Lasagna. And I wasn't sure what to think because I had never made this before. But I can tell you guys, after making it and after tasting it, it is absolutely fantastic. Nothing I would change about this lasagna. The smokiness totally came off. The cheeses were absolutely fantastic. It totally complemented the noodles and the meat, and I love that noodle to meat ratio. It wasn't overpowering, it wasn't too cheesy, it wasn't too meaty, it wasn't too noodly. Perfect amount of noodles to meat to cheese. Guys, if that looked good, if that's something you want to try, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, Jason Goodall, GQue BBQ.